The end of
KATU's Weather on the Hour is brought to you by Teflik Laser Surgery Centers. Your vision for the future.
On World News Tonight this Thursday, the Egypt airplane was deliberately put into a dive. But why? The investigation today. Two politicians who managed to hold up the nation's business. But why? A report on how to work the system. South Carolina decides to pay for an entertainment center instead of education. But why? We'll take a closer look. And the World War II veteran who is still on active duty. The only one left.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. This Veterans Day was not a holiday for the men and women trying to understand why 217 people died on that Egypt air flight. As the investigators worked with the flight data recorder yesterday, they quickly realized two things. First, they desperately need the cockpit voice recorder to hear what the pilot said as disaster was looming. Again today, bad weather off the coast made recovering it impossible. Investigators need to hear the voices because based on what they have learned from the flight data recorder, they think the plane was put into a dive deliberately. Now, ABC's Lisa Stark covers the investigation for us. And Lisa, I gather based on your reporting today, there are several scenarios involved.
That's right, Peter. They're looking at everything. But here's the problem. Sources close to the investigation and aviation experts concede that not one of the scenarios quite fits.
Was there an intruder in the cockpit? It happened in 1987 when a disgruntled airline employee shot the pilots on a PSA flight in California. But wouldn't some sort of cockpit fight have resulted in a more erratic, less controlled descent? Was there a suicidal pilot? That is suspected in the Silk Air crash 2 years ago in Indonesia. But the jet's dive would probably have been even steeper and faster.
We would see an airplane that doesn't stop below supersonic range, but is literally stood on its nose and is going almost straight down.
What about a sudden mechanical emergency, smoke or fumes in the cockpit? But why no mayday call? And why would the pilots not turn back towards land? What about a sudden decompression? That would account for the rapid descent down to lower altitudes. But why would experienced pilots drop the plane 3 times faster than a usual emergency descent?
And secondly, they leveled at 16,700. Why? You want to bring that airplane down under 10,000 feet.
Investigators cannot say whether the plane lost pressurization. It is not one of the 150 systems monitored by the flight data recorder.
The only things they seem to be able to rule out so far, a major failure of a flight control system and a significant explosion that damaged the plane's ability to fly. So the mystery continues. Peter?
Thanks very much. Lisa Stark is in Washington today. On Capitol Hill today, the Clinton administration and the Republican-controlled Congress are inching their way to an agreement on next year's budget. They have resolved disagreements on funding for education, for Medicare, and for law enforcement, but there are still 2 obstacles in the way of a final deal. 2 members of Congress. First, in the House, here's ABC's Linda Douglas.
Republican Congressman Chris Smith has taken a stand that leaders of his own party are afraid to challenge. Smith insists that payment of America's back dues to the United Nations, $1 billion worth, be tied to a measure cutting off funds to any group that promotes the right to an abortion overseas. Mr. Clinton refuses to accept those restrictions, and Smith won't budge. You've said you're willing to keep the Congress here until Christmas over this issue.
The inconvenience that it may cause people in Congress or the president or anyone else in government pales to insignificance when compared to the lives that we're trying to save.
Republican leaders have agreed to pay the dues and privately say they wish Smith would give up his crusade. But they are reluctant to bring the issue up for a vote because if Smith wins, the president will veto the bill and blame Republicans for another foreign policy embarrassment. They can't say that publicly because they don't want to anger anti-abortion groups whose support is critical to the GOP in next year's campaigns. The president is being stubborn, too, in part because he does not want to offend the Democrats' abortion rights supporters. Mr. Clinton's own UN ambassador has been arguing to just pay the dues.
This issue has nothing to do with the United Nations. It doesn't belong
in the bill at all. Let the people who are pro-choice or pro-life continue this battle on in other terrain.
In order to get the budget passed, they must try to work out a deal on the abortion issue that will satisfy Congressman Smith. But tonight, there is no deal in sight. Linda Douglas, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
On the other side of Capitol Hill, a powerful senator has planted himself in the way of the budget process. West Virginia Senator Robert Byrd has proven time and again that he can move mountains. Metaphorically, now with the federal budget hanging in the balance, it is real mountains that he's concerned with. Here's ABC's John Martin.
It's called mountaintop removal, when mining companies blow up the tops of mountains to get at the coal and dump the debris into valleys, damming up streams. Last month, the federal judge said that violates clean water and surface mining laws. The ruling angered West Virginia mining companies and miners. So Senator Robert Byrd decided to take the law into his own hands, you might say.
This court ruling is wrong-headed.
With miners cheering him on. Byrd, one of the Senate's master strategists, let it be known that if Congress did not approve an exemption for his state, he would hold the budget hostage by filibustering. Everyone knows Byrd can do just that. So senators are scrambling to find a way out, perhaps letting West Virginia violate the law. Environmentalists, such as Courtney Cuff, are desperately trying to stop Byrd, outraged at the idea of an exemption.
That would be completely uncalled for and untenable.
Of course, if the president goes along with the deal to save other spending, it will incense other people.
What about the 49 other states that have to abide by this act? It takes my breath away thinking about it.
But with billions of dollars of spending at stake, they're working on a deal, which proves once again Robert Byrd knows a lot about the uses of power. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
On Wall Street today, first the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ market closed at a record high for the 9th time in the last 10 trading days. Technology stocks are hot again. The NASDAQ was up more than 41 points. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 2 points to close at 10,595. When we come back, the spiritual movement that the Chinese government is trying so hard to destroy. It is not easy. And what a solar storm might do to an increasingly wired planet. Ours.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Aleve.
Thanks for making Aleve. For almost 5 years, I had a hard time walking. I went from doctor to doctor and even had surgery on both knees. Pain relievers like Tylenol quit after a few hours, and the pain came back. Finally, a doctor suggested Aleve. Within a week, I was dancing all night like I hadn't done in years.
Aleve can stop pain all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Now people say I'm a walking advertisement for Aleve.
All day strong, all day long.
We're picking up our CEO.
Fortunately, the company cars have OnStart.
We swerved off the road and boom, the airbags go off.
There was a deer.
I never saw it.
Seconds later, an OnStar advisor calls and he says, I just got a signal, your airbags went off, should I send an ambulance?
We were fine, but she called for a tow truck and a limo.
Good thing I called OnStar.
OnStar called us.
Oh, right.
The one-touch connection to people who can help.
OnStar.
Call 1-800-OnStar-7.
Choosing a cranberry juice is confusing.
Premium cocktail, 27% juice, corn syrup. Avoid the confusion. Trust Northland to always be 100% juice.
Northland is pure genius.
Northland, always 100% juice.
In Bogota, Colombia today, a massive car bomb packed with shrapnel exploded on a busy street. 8 people are dead, 45 others injured. Police believe that drug lords put the bomb there, angry that the government is sending suspected narcotics traffickers to the United States for trial. In southern Italy today, a 6-story apartment building collapsed before dawn. As many as 90 people were inside. Some people were rescued, but many people are trapped in the rubble, and 14 people are confirmed to be dead. In China, a group of foreign journalists is complaining about harassment by the government. They say that China is pressuring reporters to stop covering an enormous spiritual movement called the Falun Gong. The government like to crush Falun Gong, which describes itself as nonviolent and non-political. But it is a group that the Chinese communist leaders have come to fear. ABC's Mark Lifke tonight in Beijing.
They insist their movement is no threat to anyone. Their mystical exercises meant only to improve health and spiritual well-being. But today, Falun Gong has vaulted to the top of Communist China's enemies list. Its members driven underground or on the run. More than 100 leaders have been arrested, thousands of followers detained, harassed, and threatened.
The evil Falun Gong cult has...
The government's propaganda machine is working overtime to demonize what it calls an evil doomsday cult. Even China's president has weighed in, vowing it will be crushed. For many, both inside and outside China, it's difficult to understand why the government here has employed such heavy-handed tactics. But Falun Gong is the very type of group China's leaders fear the most. Its millions of members come from a cross-section of society. Workers, students, retired civil servants, even party members. People unsettled by the rapid pace of change here, many unemployed. People searching for a sense of security that they believe the state no longer provides. And that is seen by the Communist Party as a direct challenge to its absolute authority.
The phenomenon of the Falun Gong is directly linked to the loss of faith in the Communist Party, the loss of faith in socialism.
Adding to the government's insecurity, Falun Gong is showing remarkable resilience, still organizing through the internet and cell phones, holding clandestine meetings to appeal for international support, tying up thousands of police with small nonviolent protests. What was once little more than a peaceful, if somewhat eccentric, spiritual movement is proving more defiant, much harder to crush than anything the communist regime has faced in years. Mark Litke, ABC News, Beijing.
When we come back, a storm on the sun and Earth is told to watch out.
That was a real scare with my overactive bladder. I was going so often. Then bottom of the ninth, suddenly I had to go. But that time, I didn't think I'd make it. That did it. I asked my doctor about Detrol.
Overactive bladder is a medical condition. Today's prescription Detrol is proven effective to treat it. Detrol helps control bladder contractions that cause those sudden urges. Detrol reduced bathroom visits by 2.2 times in 24 hours versus 1.1 times with placebo. 1.2 fewer wedding accidents occurred with Detrol versus 0.8 fewer with placebo. Similar decreases over 24 hours. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Detrol. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Some others may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion.
Seventh inning. Need a break?
Not right now. Thanks to Detrol.
Ask your doctor about prescription Detrol, proven effective to treat overactive bladder.
One question aroused fierce passions for centuries. What's for dinner? Until the day a great mediator appeared. The new Maytag Gemini. An amazing 2-in-1 range that allowed them to cook 2 different foods at 2 different temperatures for one complete meal.
Freedom.
50 is beautiful, and to stay that way, Pro-Vital Revitalizing Cleanser with gentle microbeads and Olay moisture. It leaves skin smooth and resilient. Pro-Vital from Olay, proven to be why women over 50 look so wonderful.
When pain shakes your world, it's time for Bengay SPA with site-penetrating action. It targets relief at the site of pain, and it has a light, fresh scent. Bengay SPA. It feels like a whole new day.
On the Science Watch this evening, the government has issued an unusual warning about the weather on the sun. Not something most of us would give much thought to, except in this electronic age. And you cannot ignore an event called the solar maximum. Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
The sun is always churning and seething, and every 11 years it turns especially violent, shooting giant solar flares into space. This time, the government says the consequences to modern electronic society on Earth could in some cases be paralyzing.
Well, there's a real probability that we'll see a major impact somewhere on Earth during the year 2000.
What kind of impact? Power blackouts and communications breakdowns, because the Earth's magnetic field, which protects us, is not enough to shield power grids or satellites.
Our vulnerability continues to incrementally grow over time. We are weaker today than 10 years ago.
Back then, in 1989, during the last solar tantrum, a flare knocked out power to 6 million people in Quebec for a day. 4 satellites were lost, too.
The sun is a big active star, and whenever it acts up, we're going to feel the impacts.
Have ignition and liftoff.
We depend on satellites to send TV, phone signals, financial data, and though scientists can now forecast solar storms, they say power companies and satellite operators may not appreciate how helpless we are against the sun's force. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
Some new pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope. These are truly things man has not seen before. The celestial life cycle, an enormous star in what's called the Trifid Nebula, gobbling up another smaller star just about the size of the sun. The National Geographic Society just finished measuring Mount Everest, and it is 7 feet taller than was thought when it was last measured in the 1950s. In this case, a global positioning satellite put the precise height of the world's tallest mountain at 29,035 feet. When we come back, a question of priorities. Who is taking the tax money meant for the schools?
What if you could treat wrinkles like an expert would? With RoC, the #1 anti-wrinkle cream in France, you can. Developed with dermatologists, RoC's pure and active form of vitamin A works deeper inside skin surface. In a 12-week study, the appearance of fine lines was reduced by 86%, wrinkles by 42%. Something more superficial beauty treatments could never promise. RoC, we keep our promises.
Attention ladies in aisle 4. Getting the nutrition you'd like out of that cereal?
Yeah?
Because you'd need 4 boxes to get the folic acid in 1 box of total.
Big appetite.
Excuse me. 12 boxes to equal the zinc in total.
Need another coupon?
And you. Even 25 boxes couldn't equal the vitamin E in total.
Express Lane? I don't think so.
Only Total has 100% of 10 vitamins and minerals. No other leading cereal comes close.
We'll take the Total.
Total Raisin Bran, Total Corn Flakes. What are you getting for breakfast?
Sis, I snooped in your medicine cabinet.
So?
You switched to X-Lax.
Yeah, Correctol works with something artificial. X-Lax works with natural senna.
Very effectively, too.
You tried it.
Today's gentle X-Lax with natural vegetable senna. 4 out of 5 users agree. It's dependable overnight.
X-Lax, what a find.
What is Snoop?
Today's X-Lax, good morning, guaranteed. And for relief with the added comfort of a softener, try new X-Lax Gentle Strength.
You know, people still ask me about the crash. I'm tired of talking about the crash. I mean, first of all, it wasn't even really a crash. 1929. That was a crash.
Yeah, that was bad.
98 was more like a market correction, typically defined by like 10, 20% drop in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which we consider the economic factors that are affecting the current risk premiums.
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
I guess it's not that surprising.
we created a smarter kind of investor. What do you know about expense ratios?
An expense ratio is a percentage.
Don't wait one more day. Ask your doctor now about Flonase nasal spray or call 1-800-FLONASE. When your doctor writes your prescription for Flonase nasal spray, you'll be glad you took the time. Why wait? All you want is Flonase.
We're going to look at education and spending more closely tonight. As you've already heard, the Clinton administration and the Congress finally agreed that more than $1 billion, $1.3 billion to be precise, will be spent primarily to hire additional teachers for the nation's schools. As you know, there was a lot of debate about whether this was the most productive way to spend the money. And here's an example of why there was a debate about the priorities. The Department of Education itself says that at least 1/3 of the country's schools are in urgent need of physical repair. ABC's Michelle Norris tonight on another example of trying to learn in horrible physical conditions.
The Ashley River Creative Arts School is one of the jewels of the Charleston, South Carolina school system, with enviable test scores and a waiting list of more than 1,000 students. But the bright decorations mask the fact that this school is falling apart.
If we worried about all the things we're wrong in this building, we'd probably be very depressed and not able to do our job, so we don't focus on that.
The 50-year-old building was so unsafe that it had been closed. But when the district ran out of space 15 years ago, it was reopened with minimal improvements.
It's just frustrating. You want to come in and you want to do a good job and you want to teach children. But sometimes it's hard to do those things because of the physical things in the building and in the classroom.
There is no money for repairs, no money for a paint job, even though the state has warned the school 6 times about lead paint hazards. Mold grows on the walls. Electrical outlets are scarce. And the school is lucky that students were not in the classroom when a ceiling collapsed.
We replace ceiling tiles on a weekly basis here.
Every time it rains, water leaks through the roof and seeps through old windows.
It kind of makes a really loud tapping noise, and then it's kind of hard to concentrate. I feel like I just want to make a fundraiser to raise money for the school and to repair everything.
Some lawmakers say the district could afford to fix these problems if it spent money wisely. But Charleston school officials say repair and maintenance costs have grown from $145,000 10 years ago to more than $27 million today.
We fix what's broken right now rather than move ahead and try to stop things from breaking.
So it is a challenge to keep standards high in a place where the ceilings are literally falling down. Michelle Norris, ABC News.
Other parts of the country will recognize the problem. And there's another debate in South Carolina about schools and spending money wisely. The state has been very aggressive trying to attract new business with government assistance and incentives, and it's been quite successful. But at a cost to the children. Here's ABC's James Walker.
In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, schools could suffer because a large developer wants to grab scarce tax dollars for his own project.
We're talking about approximately 30,000 direct jobs, and then there's about 20,000 indirect jobs.
Doug Wendell is using the promise of jobs to get the state to help him build condominiums, golf courses, and shopping centers with money collected from property taxes.
Normally, a large portion of the property taxes that businesses like these pay goes to schools. But in this case, developers want to divert that money to build roads and sewers. School officials say they would lose $256 million over 20 years.
This proposal takes the commercial property tax revenue from our county for years and years to come, for 4 generations of children yet unborn.
We went camping in the backyard.
What schools need today is more money. This elementary school was built 4 years ago for 650 students. It now has 1,000 jammed into 16 portable classrooms. What's happening here is happening across the state and in many other parts of the country. School districts are losing control of their primary source of money, property taxes.
So they're taking the guarantee away from the schools, giving it to the businesses, and leaving the schools without a fundamental basis for financing the education of our children.
In Myrtle Beach, the county says it is going to protect the school's funding, but nobody is sure how they are going to do that.
Number 4, guys.
And there is another problem. Taking money from property taxes was originally intended to attract jobs in the high-paying car and steel industry. Instead, the money is going to theme parks and shopping malls with low-paying jobs. That means there is even less tax money for South Carolina to pay for all sorts of services.
It's really a sham. We're locking in tax cuts for the future that will, we can't get out of that.
A sham that one study estimates could cost South Carolina $2.7 billion in the next decade. James Walker, ABC News, Myrtle Beach.
Closer look for today. When we come back on this Veterans Day, the last active duty serviceman from World War II.
Do you need a new car? Do you need to see the ocean? Is watching a sunset absolutely necessary? Introducing the all-new, redesigned Avalon, the most spacious, most luxurious sedan we've ever created. Do you need a new car?
The hot flashes got pretty bad. Night sweats were ruining my sleep. Vaginal dryness made intimacy uncomfortable, and I was worried that estrogen loss at menopause could lead to osteoporosis, a long-term health problem. Menopause is complicated. Talking to my doctor helped. For me, she prescribed Prempro. It's relieving my uncomfortable symptoms, and along with calcium and exercise, helping prevent osteoporosis.
Prempro is only for women who have not had a hysterectomy. Prempro is not for every woman. You should not take Prempro if you've had any breast or uterine cancer, abnormal vaginal bleeding, abnormal blood clotting, liver or heart disease, stroke, or if you think or know you are pregnant. Tell your doctor about your personal and family medical history. Side effects include blood clots, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, breast tenderness, irregular bleeding, and headache. For more information, talk to your doctor about Prempro or call.
I'm glad my doctor prescribed Prempro. Now I'm feeling great. For me, it's Prempro.
Tonight, the torrid love affair that nearly destroyed Frank Sinatra. Two Hollywood legends flirting with disaster.
Ava Gardner taught Sinatra to sing a ballad the hard way.
Hidden stories about their explosive romance. 2020 Downtown tonight.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, raising funds by lowering toll gates. The debate over toll roads in the Northwest. And a veteran is reunited with a valuable piece from his wartime past. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn. News of the Northwest is next.
Finally this evening, Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day, and Armistice Day. In Paris, commemorating the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month when World War I ended. In London, honoring those who died in wars throughout the century. President Clinton honored American veterans from every war when he laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington National Cemetery. During World War II, 16 million Americans served in the armed forces. One of them remains on active duty. Here's ABC's Jack Smith.
The day's ceremonies at Arlington had special meaning for Captain Earl Fox of the U.S. Coast Guard. At 80, he is the only veteran of World War II still on active duty.
On behalf of a grateful nation, we say thank you for your service. Thank you.
He was saying things that really my whole generation, all of them, those people had earned.
Fox served in the Navy for 5 years in World War II. A career in civilian life as a doctor followed, and he retired in 1974. But he disliked retirement so much that he joined the military again. This time, the Coast Guard, which needed doctors and overlooked his age. And he served 25 years more. He believes he is, in some sense, a last link with the Great Crusade, World War II.
I can remember the Battle of Midway when we had nothing except the courage of pilots. That was all we had.
PT boat captains like you.
And PT boat. I'm proud to be able to be here and be able to do the things I do today, and sad that I won't be doing them tomorrow.
Sad because next week, Earl Fox finally faces mandatory retirement, though he still plans to work part-time. You're not really retiring.
Oh, no. If you by retiring, you mean not doing something. No, I want to be productive.
Earl Fox, the last uniformed soldier of a generation that changed history. Jack Smith, ABC News, Arlington, Virginia.
We thank them all. That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Tomorrow from ABC News, on Good Morning America, your kids logging on, emailing more, downloading everything. But what are the health risks to the internet generation? And on World News Tonight, the shape of robots to come, shrinking, regrowing. Imagine what they could do inside your body on World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings than from any other.